Hey folks, how are you doing? We got cattle, we received cattle, so now we're happy. We just need some rain. And I hate to say it, but the first of the month we might have to start feeding them hay. But anyway, we needed some country for them, so they shipped us some cattle. And before I get going, I want to tell you that my friend Dick McCoy made this belt for me. And it's the brands from the ranches that I've worked on. And the first two brands are the K Diamond and the P6. Those are Richard and Sandy Rudnick, a fine ranching couple. And Richard, I was very enjoyed working with Richard. He's old school. He treated me with respect. I treated him with the utmost respect, and we really had a good time. So as I get fatter, I just keep adding more brands. But anyway, I just wanted to show you. Dick McCoy in Pennsylvania made this bit for me. This belt. And if you want a nice belt made, just get a hold of us and we'll tell you his phone number. All right. The cattle we received in 3 different trucks at 3 different times. So the point of my story today is that these cattle come out of a feedlot that was a ranch feedlot. It wasn't a commercial one. And they were on hay, standing on dirt, eating hay every single day. So when they get up here, when they get off the truck, their gut, because they're a ruminant, has good bacteria. Remember, ruminants multi-stomach. So they got a factory, literally. We're simple stomach, like a horse. So anyway, the bacteria in their gut is friendly for hay, and it breaks down the hay and turns it into everything they need. Well, there is no hay here now. So what happens is they don't get hay every morning. The next morning, after they got here, they're expecting hay, so it isn't here. So now they start bawling and walking the walls, we call it. In other words, they're walking around the pasture, and every once in a while some will bawl, and their bacteria is asking for hay in their gut, craving. So now the bacteria doesn't get the hay, and after 12 hours, a percentage of that bacteria starts to die. So over time, which can be 3 days, the bacteria dies, and they get so hungry and they find out they're not on welfare, they literally put their head down and start picking grass. So now that they're picking grass and they're putting it in, a new set of bacteria starts to form to digest the grass they just ate, which is dry, lignified feed. Point of my story is it takes a while for a ruminant to transition their gut over to grass when they come off of hay, and vice versa. So I just wanted to share that with you, and we're into the last few days of the last bunch that came. So by now they're actually working for a living. And the first bunch that came slowed down the second bunch, so they didn't walk the walls. First 2 bunches slowed down the third bunch, because in the ranching world, cattle, if they come out of a feedlot, they're surrounded in close proximity. When you put them outside on the range, they have a feeling they have to move until they hit a fence, and then yearlings especially. So when I tell you walking the walls, that means they're finding all the corners, which is why we have to ride fence. Anyway, what you're witnessing are cattle that are coming off of hay welfare and turning into grass-eating animals. Okay. Now, you guys, if you'll notice in the trap, there's a cow there. And these other cows, some of them were in there when we got here. That's what we call a candy bar, or a lick. And it's a metal barrel, and it's full of molasses and all the vitamins and minerals and nutrients that a cow needs to break down this lignified feed. Now, when I say lignified feed, I will show it to you. This is lignified feed. This is desert grass, dry. Food value next to nothing. So when they ingest that molasses, it goes in their gut and it helps break down this lignified feed I just showed you. So now you got a whole new system of the gut, because the sugar can actually break down cellulose and turn it into actual nutrients. So that's why it's important to have a supplement lick for them. Now that lick, not only molasses, it has a lot of salt in it. And that makes so one cow like her can't stand there all day and lick it out. She's going to be able to take so much and then she can't take anymore. And she's going to need to go to water, which is about 1.5 miles away. So if you don't have the lick, to me, my opinion, out on the range to break down dry grass, then the cow burns more energy than she's producing. What that means is that her body cannot get enough dry feed in her to cover what her body needs. That makes it so that you can get away with this dry grass out on the range. A lot of guys used to call it forage buster. We call it candy bars because it's molasses. So you're witnessing that situation going on. This is the trap we gather to. I've got both ends of the trap open. The way I see the cattle deals, I put a lick in there, and these cattle, who sometimes get a little twitchy, are comfortable coming in and out of the corral. So when we do gather them, it's not like we're trying to shove them down a funnel. So that's one of the 17 reasons why I put a lick inside the corral for them to feel comfortable about coming in. And that's it. Well, for folks that aren't around ranches, the situation is that we've got cattle on this side of the fence. Okay. As a habit, when you ride along the outside, the old saying was, you get around the outside, the middle will take care of itself. And there's a lot to that. But as you ride, you always make it a habit to look over the fence, because there might be one set of tracks. Of course, there's nothing, so we're happy. But there was a 50-mile-an-hour wind yesterday, which could blow out tracks, but it didn't blow out all these, so that gives you the timeline. Anyway, if you see a set of tracks there, then you see which way they went. Now you ride down the fence a half mile from here. Some farmer left the gate open, so you already know that your cows went that way. If there's no tracks here and you find a hole, then you probably ought to go the other way. That's just trivia on, you know, they write songs about it, don't fence me in. Well, some cows never heard that song. Okay, that's it. Oh, and of course there's baling wire. And my friends in Utah, I know they've heard this ever since they were born, but this is what we used to call a Mormon rivet, because they could fix anything with this. And I'm not picking on them. The Hokies, they could turn this into a 4-speed transmission if they needed to. So baling wire, when it went by the wayside, an entire opportunity of parts went with it. Hay string just is not the same. So for those of us that appreciate this, I just thought I'd share that with you. Okay.